Okay, so right now we are headed to Prince Edward Island, and one of the ways we are getting there is by boat, or technically ferry. But anyways, it's raining really hard right now, or lightly raining, so hopefully we make it safely. Okay, we finally made it to a ferry after intense rain and driving as well. Well, not speeding driving, but more like we had to slow down because of the rain. We are finally onto the ferry yacht and heading to Prince Edward Island. I don't know, like I remember that I did this when I was a kid, taking a boat from Nova Scotia to Prince Edward Island, or vice versa, but it feels nice. A little bit of it, because I still have no memory of it as well, or a little bit of a memory. But let's just hope things calm down in Prince Edward Island, because I don't know how heavy this rain's going to be. Well, we should be setting sail soon. Oh, cool! I think that's PEI coming up. I can't believe we made it this far.
Attention please. The vessel will be arriving shortly. When returning to your vehicle, please proceed with caution. Please refrain from starting your vehicle until directed to do so by a crew member. Thank you for sailing with Northumberland Ferries.
Well, we're already at the shores of PEI. I can't wait to get off the ship to start exploring. I think one of my favorite places that I'm probably visiting is the Anne and Green Gables. I mean, it was written in Canada, and it did take place in where the author grew up, I think. But it would be interesting to see what it's like. I still have memories of that time at Anne and Green Gables, but not so much. But this is going to be exciting. Let's see what PEI has to offer. One of the bright sides of landing in PEI was basically it wasn't raining really hard as it was. Sure, there was some drizzling and there were some big puddles, but we did manage to make it safely, and that was most important as well. But when we were passing PEI's ferry, after we got off the ferry, there were a lot of cars that were waiting to get into Halifax, or Nova Scotia. In which it was quite interesting to see the contrast as well. I mean, even a couple hours ago, I was like one of the people in line that were waiting to get onto the ferry, but now things are a little bit different. After an hour of sailing, this is where I am now, Point Prim Lighthouse. According to the guide, it says it's like one of the most famous lighthouses in PEI. Well, at least 4 of them. But I'm glad we made it to PEI. Okay, so right now I'm having lunch at the Point Prim Chowder House as well, and conveniently it's just right across from Point Prim Lighthouse. Usually people can go out and sit outside and have lunch or dinner, but apparently with the rain and the strong winds, yeah, it doesn't sound like a good idea. But I guess since now it's time for lunch, it's time to grab something to eat, and then we're going to head up to our next destination.
OK，呢個片包啦，係襯呢個 clam 嘅，所以我擺落去影相。OK，擺落去影相，咁樣擺落去。哦，好靚喎。And then I'll like.
So after about an hour and 25 or hour 30 or 2 hours of driving from the ferry terminal, from Point Prim Lighthouse and Point Prim Chowder House as well, this is one of the first places I'm visiting, Point Beach, or Point Rithfield Beach. It's really interesting. Oh, those cliffs are amazing as well. Oh, check out this water flow. It's coming from there all the way from this channel and into the ocean. Oh, I love how red this beach is. I don't know, it reminds me of being on Mars for whatever reason. But those cliffs look really cool. Ah, the sea air. And the best part of it all is the sun's finally out. Yeah, looks like a nice beach day. So right now I've done one of the things that I've probably never done before, deep sea fishing. It's pretty cool. So there's a couple of these places that will take you out to the sea, and then you could just catch any fish, that kind of stuff. And then probably if you catch some, you can bring it home to like cook. Hopefully I catch some because like I'm kind of thinking about what's to get for dinner or dinner at all. But it would be a cool, interesting experience at least. Anyway, this is a boat. It's pretty cool. And that's the open sea that we're heading to. I wonder what kind of fish that's out there. And I wonder what other sea creatures there are as well. It would be really interesting. But too bad I don't have my waterproof case for my GoPro. But oh well. Let's see what the adventure takes us and what the open sea has to offer. Because like in about 10 minutes, I'm getting on that boat and I'm sailing out there. But besides that, this area is really nice. The sea air, one of my favorite scents, but I'm thinking incense is one of my favorites. But it's so fresh, so clear. It's like clear thinking kind of thing as well. There was no turning back at that point. Basically, I got in the boat, and the boat decided to take us to the open ocean as well. I didn't know what I liked better, whether the fish type that I'm going to be catching in the open sea off the coast of PEI, or even the boat ride that was really relaxing. But things have cleared up on the time that we got to our deep sea fishing experience as well. And one thing I got in mind that I need to think of, dinner.
Heidi, let me unpick your photo.
Okay, status update. We are now in the middle of the sea. Well, not too far out. Because you could still see the coastline of the island there.
Yeah.
And basically, right now I'm just doing the fishing. Okay, thank God for this whole thing over here. And right now, all I gotta do is just wait. And the boat's teetering. The fishing experience was amazing. I didn't know what was better. Going out to the open sea to do the fishing, the experience itself, or probably better yet, the reaction from other people when you catch a fish. I still can't believe fish meat was one of our fish baits that we ever had to use as well. But I guess if it caught fish, then it's okay. But that was one of the most amazing experiences I had, and I was lucky I managed to catch some fish for dinner as well. And even see what other people caught. But one of the best parts was riding the boat at sunset as well. It was amazing. I don't think I'll ever forget about that sunset view I was when I was on that boat and when things started to get a little bit chilly. But one thing for sure, the seagulls were chasing us because I still think that we had open fresh fish on our boat and they were trying to chase us to get it as well. But that's one thing I'll never forget from this experience. One of the best experiences in my entire trip. Okay, so if you guys are a fan of like Anne of Green Gables or watch the series Anne with an E, you might really like my next stop that I'm visiting too. Behind me is the Green Gables Visitor Center. Unfortunately, right now my GoPro mic just completely got busted, so the receiver won't be able to fit into my GoPro, so I'm going to have to use my phone to like start vlogging a little bit. Well, only in this part. But it's pretty cool. I remember some parts of it when I was a kid, but I never remember this much as well. Now this is probably one of the coolest places in the entire site, the Green Gable house. This is where, like, according to the story of Anne of Green Gables, Anne would have lived after she was adopted by both Marilla and Matthew as well. Even though they were sent for a boy, but then they had Anne adopted her, and even though she was a girl. It's a really cool story at all. But anyway, there's a lot of cool stuff to explore, so let's go and see inside the house. I still remember some of the places and some of the things that I saw when I was a kid when I first visited this place. But not since now. But I still remember all the details from Anne of Green Gables, like how down there was the kitchen, and there was like the living room or the parlor room at that time, and the stove kitchen as well. And when you go upstairs, there was Anne's room, of course with their dress and the broken slate as well. And I believe this would have been like the guest room or something, but I'm not 100% sure. Sure, there was like Marilla's and Matthew's room. I believe they had separate rooms at that time, and even Marilla's sewing room as well. We even had to exit from the bottom, but it was a nice experience to visit this place again. So, inside the house looks really cool. There was like a lot of like Victorian antiques that were around that time, and it seems to be a really small house, but it's amazing of what the house it was like back then, or how the people lived. Although this would have been like set for like Anne of Green Gables, that kind of stuff, it still showed like the life of how the author had lived back in her days. And now it's time to keep exploring more of the entire area as well. The museum center had a lot of interesting stuff as well, such as the author's life and what inspired her to write Anne of Green Gables. Even these sections were awesome to represent what the book would have, like it would talk about nature, inspiration, imagination, romance, friendship, hope. There was so many cool stuff around here. What surprised me the most when this exhibit is that they had to replace the plates just to reprint the entire copy as well to sell. But it was also amazing as well to learn about the author's life. And this was one of my favorite exhibits, the entire storyboard of it as well. But it was amazing, all the details and colors of it. So it started like this. Marilla and Matthew was looking for a boy and got a ticket. They met Matthew and then went to the Green Gables estate. Marilla and Matthew discussed what to do, but Marilla saw how useful Anne was, and basically she lived her life in happy and heavenly. And this was all the author's life. It was all really interesting as well, and very dedicated to the author. Especially the book Anne of Green Gables. But there was one thing I wanted to do, write this message. The world is your canvas and you must put your art on it. So what I mean by doing that is be creative and use your imagination and let the world be your canvas and paint whatever colors you want in as well and design out the world how you want it to be. That's what I really loved about this book and the series, the power of friendship and kindred spirits. So the next thing on our itinerary is that we're going to be driving along the Gulf of St. Lawrence. So basically it's a lot of beach areas as well, so you could probably stop by and go for a beach day. But since I'm heading to Charlottetown, it's just better to stop by, get out the car, and also take pictures as well. Okay, so right now I am in downtown Charlottetown and I am just going to see some of the city's sights and see what's up in the town. The parking is easy around here because like usually on the weekends, like Saturday and Sunday specifically, parking's free. So I'm kind of lucky at this point. But let's see what the city has to offer. So apparently only a few shops and restaurants are open because most of the places are closed on Sundays as well. But it was a nice walk around Charlottetown. We ended up finding this church that we wanted to visit it, and inside it was pretty cool and quite beautiful. The interior looked like it was medieval Gothic, so I guess it was the style back in the Victorian era on that day. And it was quite memorizing and really quiet as well. Like,
guess we just want to be respectful around the area.
So one of the cool places that you can do in Charlottetown on Sundays is walk by the harbor. Like, there are a couple of harbor places, like the one right behind me and the one in Victoria Park as well. It's a nice stroll, but make sure you bring a lot of things to keep you cool, like water, an umbrella preferably, or under my suggestion, and even a fan as well, because sometimes in the summer in PEI, I think because it's closer to the ocean, it feels a lot hotter than it is. Okay, right now the plan so far is just to have dinner and start driving up to my Airbnb as well. So I'm just going to head to New Brunswick.